Hey guys, I'm TLC and welcome to my new segment called Kinky Gaming, where Big Daddy Gamer and I answer a few of your questions about relationships, sex and kink. If you have more questions, just send them in and give me a thumbs up. All the links are in the description below. Enjoy!
Number one, I have a 9-year-old son. I'm a single parent, and I'm nervous about the talk. Can I rely on school's sex ed program, or should I talk to him first?
Okay, well you have kids. You wanna answer? You wanna go first? I have some ideas on that, but you can go first if you want to.
Yes, okay, I'll go first. I have kids, so we have a 10-year-old boy, and we have two, teenage daughter. Honestly, you have to have the talk. You have to have the talk. I do think 9 years old is a little early. But I think they start doing the sex ed thing. Is it 8?
10 or 11 years old.
Is it that late? I thought it was earlier than that. At least where I'm from, they start at like 10 or 11 years old in school to teach them. But it's not, I don't think it's like in depth as it should be.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. But yes, definitely, you definitely have to have the talk. And like personally, my parents never gave me the talk. And I mean, did it like ruin my childhood? No. But could it have given me better, maybe some options or have done things maybe a little differently? Yes. Okay, your turn. Go for it.
I agree with that. I don't think 9 years is too soon. I think like the average age that a kid sees porn for the first time is like around 10, so he has 12 months, I guess, to figure it out. You should totally, I'm guessing it's a he, I don't know, but whoever you are, you should totally talk to him. Like, sex ed, in my opinion, is horribly screwed up. Like, the problem with sex ed is mainly that it just teaches kids about reproductive biology, like how do babies get made, and this is a sperm making its way into a fertilized egg, like stuff like that. And like, how often do you actually think about that when you're having sex? Is that like really the first thing you're going to think about? It's good to know.
I really hope not.
Yeah. But like, when you have sex for the first time or when you have sex later, like, just count how often you have sex and how many kids you have, and you'll figure out like how often you actually have sex for just fun. And people should be taught about that as well. Like, reproductive biology is the easiest part of it. Every moron can have a baby. And sex ed should maybe spend like 30 minutes on how that works, so people know, well, you can get pregnant if you have sex, that's how it works. But just imagine you're going to a driver's ed class and all the teach you is like the internal combustion engine, and then they give you the key to the fucking car and like have fun. And that's ridiculous, and drivers need to know way more, like stop signs or blinkers or road etiquette and road law. And I think the same goes for sex. Like, there's way more important things in reproductive biology that matter, like consent or sexual orientation. So many people don't understand how important consent is and how it works, and how you shouldn't have sex with someone who's almost blackout drunk just because they said they wanted to have sex earlier that night. Or how consent is important for both genders, not just women. How you can withdraw consent in the middle of sex and nobody should be allowed to have a sad about his boner or her lady boner being gone because of it. I don't know, I think it's really important, and I think those things should be taught more in depth. And I mean, consent is not just about saying no, it's also about saying yes. Sex ed should also teach the good parts of sex, not just the STDs or STIs. Like, how do I make it clear to someone that I want to have sex with that person and that you're into them, without it like being confusing and weird and awkward. Like, kids should be taught about sexual orientation and gender, what it means to be trans, what it means to be queer, what it means to be gay, what it means to be asexual even. Like, things aren't just black and white, gay and straight and cis or trans. Like, there are many different things in between. And chances are extremely high, if not inevitable, that like if you have a class of like 30 kids, at least a handful of them will fall like somewhere in between those stereotypes, you know, and in between that spectrum, and not just the black and white part of it. And I think it's like very important that they know as early as possible that it's 100% fine to be who you are, whether it is being queer or gay or straight, because I don't know, it can stop bullying between kids, it can stop child suicides that are like, children are really confused about it because they think they're being like really weird or messed up because of it. It can like prevent the kid from struggling their whole life with their own sexuality and identity because of some bullcrap that's been told when he was small. Because if you just tell reproductive biology, you're basically telling like queer kids that like they can't have kids, so they shouldn't have sex. You know, like there's some implication. I don't know if you agree with that, but I think it's very important that they tell this kind of stuff.
No, I agree with everything you said.
Like, and okay, this goes maybe a little bit too far, but I think the same thing goes for kink. Like most people will develop some sort of kink during their lifetime, but many kinks develop during puberty, if not earlier. Like other kinks develop later, I guess, but people who are into something that is considered kinky by mainstream are actually the majority. I think like studies are like 60-70% of people like something that most people would consider out of social norms. And maybe we should teach kids, maybe not at age 9, maybe later, but we should teach them that everyone has some sort of alternative thing they're into. One more thing. I think it's incredibly important to teach people about masturbation, like kids. Because like sex ed should teach kids how to masturbate, and well, not how to masturbate, but not masturbating or masturbating the wrong way can really damage people. Like, I mean, there's a national campaign, like there's an international like masturbation day for women, and like that goes along the same way, like not basically like kind of carving a groove into masturbating the wrong way, but society has somehow decided like 100 years ago that while men are those like horny creatures that masturbate all the time, a woman is supposed to be this pristine, untouched being who shouldn't even pleasure herself unless she's with a guy. And many girls either believe that or they just don't know any better. Like I literally have girlfriends who are the same age as me who told me that they never masturbate when they're on their own. And I mean, like, to each their own, I guess, but it kind of creates this thing that guys have this trial and error phase, that once they get into a relationship, they already know what feels good for them and they know what to do. And some women like never tried it, they have no idea what feels good to them, and then just they get to partner sex and they think like, okay, now go ahead, make me come, you know. And it's just not that easy, and it's important for women to figure out what feels good for them. Like a bunch of women, I've answered this question, like not the sex ed question, but thing about masturbation, like on Hungry before, and about 70% of women, according to like the recent studies, can't come like from sexual penetration alone. They need some kind of other stimulation. And that's just because that's how bodies work. Like some parts of our body will be more sensitive than others, and sometimes that's not just like the internal canal. Sometimes that's, I don't know, the nipples or the clit or stuff like that. But every single sex scene in a movie, every single porn basically focuses on penetration. So when women just see that and then they get to sex and then suddenly it doesn't work for them, it makes them think they're broken. And they should know that that's totally normal. Like, it's just like taste buds. Like, biology is so incredibly different that we don't taste the same things. Like, because just like sheer amount of taste buds I have and you probably have can be incredibly different. Like, we can eat the same thing and taste something completely different. And the same goes for like other parts of the body. Like, we can neurologically, we can chemically show that, and so goes for pain and pleasure cells. Like, to simplify the actual terminology, I guess, I don't know what they're actually called. And it's 100% fine.
Well said. Well said.
Do you teach, like, do schools in Kansas have abstinence-only education?
Yeah, I think they do, actually.
Okay. Like, just in some schools, or?
You know, I don't really know. Let me ask Natalie. No, she says they don't.
That's good, because there's so, like, there's some states that actually have only abstinence-only education, and that's, I don't know, to me that blows my mind. I don't get it. That's like the worst thing you can do. Like, abstinence-only education is meant to like teach kids that they shouldn't have sex until they're married, but in average they're only delaying sex for like around 5 or 6 months. But those states are also the same that have like the highest amount of STDs, the highest amounts of like teen pregnancies, just because they don't teach kids all the other important stuff, not even the sexual, like the biology part of it.